What's up, y'all? Welcome to another Successful Sundays. What's going on? What's going on? I want to say thank you again for making it to this day. If you are viewing this later, or even if you are live with us at this moment, I truly appreciate it because I'm all about the success, and Sundays is where a lot of it can start. So, today I'm just going to kind of touch base on how we could free up ourselves more. Like caring less is actually equals to more freedom. And what kind of sparked this entire thought process and topic for today was I was actually on vacation last week Sunday. I was in Jamaica with my family, and I met a lot of great people from the US, UK, here in Canada, all walks of life. And there was a few people who asked me a question, and and I realized it was such a topic that when you start to really pour into yourself, you exude it very, very easily. And it's been something that I've been working on a lot the last couple of years in my life of how I present myself, how I live, how I breathe. It's a lifestyle. I take it on as the positivity, the way I move, everything I do is with intention on with a purpose. And a few people asked me, particularly at the bar or throughout the resort, they would ask me like, what why do you look so, easy and light and positive? And it was different people from different walks of ages, different ranges. And one lady, it was her birthday, and she was in her 50s. If I remember, shout out to her. She asked me, what advice could I, give her? And I was like, okay. I said, honestly, one of the things that I've learned is to no longer give a fuck and to just move in my own energy and to just feel free in that space, but not giving a fuck in terms of like I'm disrespecting somebody. Never that. Never ever that. But it's more of not giving a fuck that I'm honoring myself more than I'm protecting myself. Because when you give so much energy into things that no longer serve you, it's draining. There's no reward from it. There's no, and not saying that you need to do things for reward, but you don't feel good even doing of service because it just drains the ever life out of you. And when I started to say, you know what, I don't give a fuck, it was more of a reason of protecting who I am, of loving who I am, and not really caring about how others' opinions could affect my next move. Because I noticed personally that a lot of the opinions that I was receiving was very like deep in fear of their own situation that they have gone through in their own time. And everybody has a different story. It could be similar, but it's not the same. So when I noticed that if someone told me, "Oh yeah, that's this and that's that," whatever situation I was in, I would start to take it on and think, "Okay, that means it's the same situation." And we all do it, right? Like subconsciously it just happens. But when you start to say, "I'm going to walk in my truth. I'm going to figure it out my way," and you're going to stop giving a fuck about other people's opinions cuz everybody has one, you could take it in terms of if it's an opinion that is matching your values and they want to see you grow, then yeah, you can listen to it a little, you can listen to it, you know what I'm saying? Listen to a little bit. But if it's an opinion that's attached to fear and negativity and them just wanting to keep you down, it kind of it serves you zero purpose. So that's one of the things that I've learned is how it is so freeing to release myself and release ourselves from other people's opinions, other people's thoughts. We all have one life. We all have one life. So imagine continuing to living this life for someone else. And I'm not even talking people just my age. I'm talking to people even older and younger. It doesn't make a difference because the moment that you start to unlearn the things that no longer serve you, and the moment that you start to embrace the things that you want to just embrace because they do serve you, they make you feel good, and you just feel as if you're yourself authentically, your life will change forever. You will never go back. You'll never ever want to live a life for others. You're only going to live a life for yourself. And that's where the free comes in, the freeing feeling. It's kind of like that saying when they say dance as if no one's watching. Well, live as if no one's watching. Live your life as if nobody's watching and live authentically and stop caring so much about other people's opinions and thoughts and emotions because a lot of their opinions and thoughts or emotions are linked with fear. A lot of it's linked with they were afraid to make a certain step. So now they're trying to hold you back. And sometimes it is protection, but sometimes it's also just their own trauma, right? Sometimes it's the trauma that they're carrying and passing on to you. And I'm gonna dabble into, like, parenting. I mean, there's a lot of things that I know that my mother and father had told me out of fear regarding, like, financings and living and how to move in life. And then when I got older, I said to myself, "Okay, I shouldn't be doing these things because they told me they're not good." Until I did my own research. This is so important for you to, like, do your own research. I started doing my own research and realized maybe in certain categories of my life that at this chapter and at this decade that I'm in, it works better for me. It may have not worked for them in that decade, but it works for me. And it's so important to just it's and when I say I don't give a fuck, it doesn't mean like I don't give a fuck about my parents' opinion, but it's just like I have to move in my own way. I have to move in my own energy. And a few ways that you could step back and just like stop giving a fuck so much is just pausing. Like if someone's giving you information, pause is so amazing because it allows you to just take a second and hear everything. Not just what they're saying, but also what's coming through here, right? What's coming through here, even in your gut. Cause sometimes we have that gut feeling like, ooh, and it could be anxiety, it could be upset, right? But just pause for a moment and evaluate. You could take in the information, but it's up to you how you actually dish it out in your own life, right? That's the whole purpose of it. Cause what works for them may not work for you. And they may not be in the position of wanting to live a freeing life. Because if we think about it, our elders, I'm a millennial. My mother is a boomer, my father is the silent era. If you think about it, I don't think they were really taught emotional intelligence. They may have a bit of it now as an adult. That era, right? That era wasn't really taught what emotional intelligence is. Let alone that era wasn't even taught really was what mental health is. They all have it. You know what I'm saying? It's not we're not the first generation to have it, but they weren't really it wasn't emphasized as much. It wasn't really spoken about as much. Now obviously we're more out out talking about it and discussing it and having the conversations in spaces and safe spaces at that. But how do we expect them to understand how we are trying to be freeing if they have no idea what it's like to be freeing? And that's where that empathy step also comes in. Have empathy. I'm not saying for people who emotionally hurt you or any way, shape, or form, but in a sense, like have empathy that maybe they didn't know what emotional intelligence was, what mental health was, what it's like to be mindful, what it's like to just hold safe spaces for themselves and others. And even as a millennial, it's an exhausting job to break that pattern, to break that energy. It is not easy, right? Because not giving a fuck is something that people look at as disrespect, but it's not. It's respecting you, right? I say it that way because in many cases, it just allows me to have power over it. And I like it that way, right? Other people can say it in other ways of just not really caring about other people's opinions and just focusing and pouring into themselves. That generation, and especially so our generation as millennials, we are just now breaking that cycle and it's exhausting. It's terrifying. It's tiring, it's annoying, it's stressful, but we're breaking the cycle so that the ones after us don't really have to go through that not having the emotional intelligence, not knowing that they just wanna be heard. We're trying our best. I think what's cool is my mother's a baby boomer, and I know a lot of people, like, have hate towards baby boomers, but one of the things that she always expresses to me is the fact that she sees the young adults now being more free. Like, that to her is freeing in her own way because she didn't get to do it, but she's still seeing in her lifetime that other women are getting to be more free. And that's such a powerful tool for such a powerful moment for her. And I think about that. Like how is for me to see Gen X speak up? Like they're just like they're talking up. They're about their feelings. They're having the conversations because they've learned from us that it we had to go through the mud, man. We had to go through the mud with it. So I say like not giving a fuck, not in terms of like disrespect. I say not giving a fuck in terms of respecting you and not just respecting you in the present moment, but respecting you in the future but also respecting you in the past. And that it's critical for that because the past version probably wanted you to speak up, wanted you to take care, wanted you to not give a fuck as much. And the future version is going to benefit from the present version of you doing all that work. So not only do you have the future version happy with you and blessed that you're doing the work, but you're also having the past version of you just smiling and being happy with the fact that you're allowing them to feel heard and you're allowing them to feel seen. So that's what the whole point of not giving a fuck is. And to some people it's difficult and it's tricky and it's not simplistic. And it's tied with trauma, it's tied with hurt, and it's tied with a lot. But the older I get, and I'm 36, the older I get, the more I realize that me simply not giving a fuck as much of what people think or say or feel about me, it's more powerful and I'm taking back my power in that very moment of saying, "You know what? I get it where you're coming from, but get what? I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to honor me. I'm going to respect me." Because maybe there's something that behind the words that you're saying is not very respectful. It's not very honoring, and in fact, I don't need to hear it. And that's why it's I say, "You know what? I choose not to give a fuck." And the more that you stop to give a fuck, the more you will see your life become far more freer and just freeing. Like going back to the analogy I said before, the metaphor I said before, think about dancing without anyone watching. Think about living authentically without anyone watching. The true part of that. And in this world, as fucked up as it could be sometimes, we need you to live by yourself. We need you to live by your authentic self. I want you to think about it also this way. When you are living your authentic life, you're pouring into someone else's cup. Because when you're living authentically, you're able to be happy. You're able to be, walking in your path. Your service, you're of service to some degree, even if it just means you're holding a door and smiling at someone, even if this means that you are being a listening ear for someone, even if it means that you are doing the service of what your life is, because I've said it before and I'll say it again, your purpose is just to exist. And when you realize when you exist here authentically, you live your authentic self. When you just say, I'm going to live for me, it changes your perspective and it becomes far more free than you think. So, if I can leave you with anything for the next week that's coming up, I would say this: live your life as if no one is watching. Dance as if you're dancing if no one is watching, and stop giving a fuck about people's opinions, what they think or say, and just live your life your way. Because at the end of the day, we only got one. We are not a cat. We don't got nine. We only got one life. And I have to leave you with that. Just live your life for you. Especially going into 2025, we have to live our lives for ourselves. That's all I got. But before I go, December 1st, we're going to be doing some goal setting for 2025. Now that we're talking about 2025, December 8th, we're going to be live on here. We're going to go over action planning as well. And the week after that, I can't think of what date it is, but I'm going to put it inside my live scheduling. We're also going to be doing some vision boarding as well. So don't forget to check out the Dope Life podcast episodes dropping this Tuesday at 6:55 a.m. You can watch it whenever you want after that. And of course, y'all, hope you have a blessed and dope week. My name is Coach AJ. Walk with peace, y'all. Walk with love.